today's video, I'm going to be doing a book unhaul, and this is going to be a 2 or 3 part series because one of my goals for 2025 is to just have less stuff, and that includes my books. So I went through my bookshelves, which are all the books that I have read over the years, and I picked a few off of there that I haven't thought about in a while or don't care about keeping. And so this part of this series is going to be books that I have already read that I'm getting rid of. I wanted to say also thank you so much for 500 subscribers already, which is just so cool. So thank you so much for that. It made me so happy, and I am glad you are all enjoying these ASMR videos, and hopefully they stay super satisfying and tingly for you. I wrote down a few statistics for these books in this really cute faux leather notebook that I have. When I say statistics, I really mean that I wrote down the year that I read them and the star rating that I gave them. Because I know I remember nothing about any of these books other than maybe a very, very base plotline for some of them. And so I have something to talk about. I thought I'd write down when I read them what I gave them, so there's at least something to this video. But honestly, my memory is so awful. I remember nothing. But this notebook is super cute. It has this little tie around here with this little metal key. And also this little bookmark. Here are my steps, sneak peek. But yeah, let's get on with the unhaul. So, the first book that I picked to unhaul is The Perfectionists by Sarah Shepard, who wrote the Pretty Little Liars book series. This is the book on this haul that I read the longest ago. This book I read before I even downloaded Goodreads, and I've had Goodreads for a long time. So I've read this book in 2015, 10 years ago, and at the time apparently I gave it 3 stars. I remember not liking this when I was reading it. Maybe I gave it 3 stars because I felt bad that I didn't like it, and I wanted to pretend I did because someone gave it to me. But I remember not liking this. I've read a few of the Pretty Little Liars books as well, and I didn't really like any of those. I only ever got up to book 3. This one was very similar to Pretty Little Liars, from what I can remember, with like the friendship group and the murder, or one of the friends went missing. But I definitely don't care enough to keep this one anymore. It's just taking up room on my shelf. What is fun about this one though, that I forgot, and I only remembered whilst looking up the plot on Goodreads, was that one of the characters is called Caitlin, spelled in the same way I spell my name. So that's fun, but still not enough for me to keep this book. these books I'll be taking to my local charity shops, for anyone who's interested as well. This next book is You're the One That I Want by Simon James Green, which I read in 2021. Apparently, I gave this book 5 stars. I remember nothing about it. Looking at it, I don't even remember that I've read it. Usually with like my 5-star books that I've read from ages ago, like the Selection series or my Cassandra Clare books, or like One of Us Is Lying, I remember loving them, and I remember things about them. This, I remember nothing. I don't know if I was lying, who knows. This one I was sent by the publisher, which was Scholastic, so thank you to them, but its time with me has ended. If you can tell from the title, this one was based a lot around the musical Grease. Grease. And I am a big musical theatre fan. And so I remember really liking the Grease references. Maybe that's what made me give it 5 stars. And I seem to remember one of them was famous in this book, so it had that trope. And on the back it says, according to the rule, Freddie has to say yes to every opportunity. But I don't even remember that. So as you can imagine, I do think my time with this book has ended as well. Next, I am getting rid of part of a series. My intention with these was to find them all secondhand at charity shops, because I never read them when I was a child. To find them all secondhand in charity shops and then read them, and that I would build up my collection that way. But I never finished collecting them. I only ever found the first 3, and I read them and they were fine, but there's no point me keeping them when I didn't finish collecting the series or reading the series, and I don't have that childhood like nostalgia connected to them as well. And there are the series of unfortunate events. So I have the first 3. The first one being The Bad Beginning by Lemony Snicket. These books are super popular, and I do remember enjoying them. I read them back in 2017, and I gave this first one 4 stars. These were a lot of fun, definitely for younger readers, and I was definitely too old to fully enjoy these as much as I would have done if I was younger at the time. But I did enjoy these. They're fun, they're really small, there's a lot of really fun wordplay in them, and Lemony Snicket, the author, always inserts himself as a character, which is really fun to read. But I don't need these ones anymore. This sounds really nice though. So yes, that's the first one in the series. Second one is called The Reptile Room. This series follows a group of orphaned children, 3 siblings, whose names I can't remember. I think one of them's called Klaus. Or is that the uncle? I can't remember. I think they're called the Baudelaire children though. crazy stuff, and he's not very nice to them. You may have seen the film of this as well. There's been like films and TV series. It's a very popular series. I just don't need it. And then the third one is called The Wide Window. The Wide Window. I don't remember anything about these separate storylines. As we can tell, I barely remember the actual just main storyline. And this one and the second one in the series I gave 3 stars. I just had an interesting thought. I'm into like collecting first editions of books, of my favourite books, and I've just had a thought as to what print these are. These are nowhere near being first editions, and so I'm very happy to give these back to the same charity shop where I bought them, but 8 years later. This next one is The Falling in Love montage by Kiara Smith. This one I read in 2022 and I gave it 3 stars again. I think the most common rating I've given these books is 3 stars, and that's why I don't care to keep them anymore. I'm sure in a few years' time I'll feel the same way about some of the ones I've read this year. This one was also sent to me by the publisher, Anderson Press, so thank you to them. Again, I can't really remember what this is about. I seem to remember it being a sapphic rom-com where they did like different dates and stuff inspired by movies whilst they fell in love, which sounds similar to Better Than the Movies, but I really can't remember. The cover again though is absolutely stunning. Yes, this one will be finding a new home as well. Another one that I read a very long time ago is Poison Study by Maria V. Schneider, which I read in 2017, and say it with me, I gave it 3 stars. This one is stupid, not the book, the story to go with it. I loved the cover that this book had when I was seeing it in like booktube videos, and I really wanted it because of the cover. Like, it was stunning, and so I ordered it on a second-hand website, can't remember which one, and it showed that it had that cover, and then it arrived and it was this. Now, this isn't the worst book cover I've ever seen, but what is it? It's awful, and the spine was like super broken. Basically, I was not happy, so I'm not sure if part of the reason I gave it 3 stars was because of how much I hate that cover. Like, imagine solely purchasing a book because you like the cover and then being sent this. I was not impressed. very, very popular series. There's a bit of a cult following, and so I'm surprised I didn't like it as much. But I didn't love it. I remember not enjoying it and just being annoyed with the cover the whole time. And so actually I'm very happy to be getting rid of this one. But this one follows a girl who is a poison tester. Yeah, I think she had to choose between being executed and being the poison tester for the king or someone in the place where she lived, which basically meant she had to try all the food before they ate it to see whether she would be poisoned or not. And that is all I remember. But this one will be finding a new home as well. This next one is Lorelei by Laura Dockrell, and I love the cover of this one. I was gifted this one when I did a video collaboration on TikTok with the company Box of Stories, who essentially save books from being destroyed and send them to you. And in one of the boxes they sent me this one, Lorelei. And I gave this one 3 stars at the time. I read it in 2021. This one I can't remember too much about either, other than the fact that it was about mermaids, which you can probably tell from this stunning cover. And I read this at the time when like mermaidy sea siren books were really popular, on TikTok especially. I remember really liking the vibes of this one though. But the cover is so pretty. But yeah, Lorelei. I'm hoping that someone else will find this and be really happy with it. Another one that I was sent in a different Box of Stories box. This one's a special edition. It was Maggot Moon by Sally Gardner. I actually ended up getting 2 copies of this, and I read it back in 2021. I gave it 3 stars as well. I got rid of the normal copy that I was sent like last year, and I kept this special edition, but I don't really need to keep the special edition either, so I'll get rid of this one. So it comes in this really stunning box, and then this is the book. It's like a cloth bound book, and this is the illustration on the front. If I remember correctly, it's also signed by the author, and so this will be a really fun find for someone to get in a charity shop. From what I can remember, there's no blurb, so there's nothing to help me, but this was a dystopian following a young boy, and that is all I've got. There was something about rats. leaving me as well. Next is one that I read in 2020 and I gave 4 stars apparently. And this is Wonder Woman Warbringer by Lee Bardugo, who wrote the Six of Crows and Shadow and Bone series. It's got the sprayed edges. This one I got in a book subscription box, but I can't remember which one. Potentially a Lumacrate, back when a Lumacrate was slightly smaller. But 4 different popular authors were like commissioned to do a series of DC books. So Lee Bardugo did Wonder Woman. Mary Lou did Batman. Sarah J. Maas did Catwoman. And then Matt de la Pena did Superman. Yeah, I read the Lee Bardugo one. I do remember enjoying this one, and the vibes were great, and obviously we're following Wonder Woman. But there's no reason for me to hold on to this one anymore. Next, I have Until Friday Night by Abby Glines, which I read back in 2020. I read a lot of books in 2020. I think we know why. And I gave this one 3 stars. I got this one in a blind date with a book. This is like an OG sports romance, but YA. I do remember enjoying this one as well, but no reason for me to keep it anymore, so it's gonna go. And then finally, I'm getting rid of this because it's ugly. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. What is this cover? Illustrated. It's awful. But I also read this in 2020. I gave this one 3 stars. This edition is just the ugliest thing I've ever seen, and I want it off my shelves. We all know the story of Alice in Wonderland. I don't think I fully understood it when I read it. And they were definitely all on something when he wrote it. But I just can't stand this cover, so I want to get rid of it. Is all of the books that I have read that I'm planning on unhauling. I don't feel like going through my unread books anytime soon and unhauling those. Maybe I'll wait until February, and I'll go through then and pick them out then. And I do predict that being more books than the ones that I've taken off of my shelves. And so I'm going to split that into 2 parts, because this is already half an hour and there was only like 10 books and I didn't have much to say, so I can't imagine how long that would be. But yes, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope this was satisfying for you. Please do leave a comment with any suggestions you might have for future videos or improvements. Leave a like if you want to, and subscribe if you want to as well. But yes, thank you so much for watching.